February has a different texture this year. It doesn't feel loud the way some months do. It feels charged, like the air before a storm or the moment right before someone tells you the truth. This is the kind of time where nothing looks dramatically different on the surface, but underneath, the wiring is shifting. And that's exactly how real change happens. Astrologically, this isn't about a single date or an exact moment. February sits inside a much larger initiation. Not one transit, not one moon, but a field-wide arrangement that asks us to notice how connected we actually are, whether we want to be or not. I keep coming back to the ancient image of Indra's net. In the myth, Indra's net stretches infinitely in all directions. At every intersection of the net sits a jewel, and every jewel reflects another jewel. Touch one strand, and the entire web responds. Nothing moves in isolation. That doesn't feel like philosophy anymore. It feels like lived reality. Pluto moving through Aquarius is rewiring the structure of the net self. Power, systems, collectives, the invisible architecture where we live inside. Uranus, the planet of electricity and awakening, is activating the signal, how information moves, how minds connect, how fast awareness travels. And Saturn and Neptune, crossing into Aries, are lighting the match, asking spirit and form to meet at the very beginning of a very new cycle. This isn't abstract. You can feel it in your body. When you feel it, when you feel that the news doesn't land the way it used to, when conversations feel louder but somehow emptier, when your nervous system says enough before your mind has a reason, when you realize you're tired of reacting and craving something real, and that's not burnout, that is an initiation. For many years, I worked behind a bar, often on the beach, where land meets sea, where people come to forget up and end up remembering. Bars are liminal spaces. They're very Piscean places. People arrive wearing masks and roles and stories, and a few drinks in, those stories soften. And by the third round, truth starts slipping out sideways. Night after night, I watch the same patterns repeat themselves, the same arguments, the same longings, the same confessions framed as jokes. And I learned something important early on. Most people don't need advice. They need witnessing. And egregor works the same way. It's a collective pattern that it keeps repeating because it hasn't been fully seen yet. It feeds on attention, emotion, and agreement. It doesn't care whether that attention is positive or negative. It just wants to be fed. And right now, February feels like a moment when a lot of people are quietly stepping back from the bar, not storming out and not flipping tables on the way out, just not ordering another round of the same story. And that's Aquarius medicine. Egregors don't collapse when they're attacked. They dissolve when people stop participating unconsciously. And that's happening. And you can hear it when people say things like, I don't know why, but I just don't want to talk about that anymore. Or I used to feel so sure, and now I just want clarity. Or some are saying, I'm not angry, I'm just done. That's wisdom beginning to outrank information. This year also carries the archetype of the fire horse, wild, independent, and untamable. Fire horse energy doesn't ask permission. It doesn't wait for consensus. It moves when the moment is alive. And historically, fire horse years coincide with social shifts, personal awakenings, and moments when people choose freedom over familiarity. Astrologically, it mirrors what's happening now. Initiation energy meeting a collective network that's already buzzing with electricity. This isn't about everyone suddenly waking up. It's about people remembering that they can move their attention, move their energy, and move their narrative. And this is where the hero's journey comes in. Joseph Campbell taught that the hero's journey isn't about slaying dragons. It's about leaving the known world, crossing into a threshold, facing the unknown, and returning changed, carrying something that helps the community. February feels like that threshold, not the climax, not the return, just the moment where you realize quietly and clearly that you can't go back to seeing things the way you did. And once that realization lands, it's irreversible. Information is fast. Wisdom's lived. Where Gemini gathers, Sagittarius integrates. And with the fire horse energy, it relates to the Sagittarian integration. We've spent years gathering. Now the nervous system is asking for meaning. That's why so many people are craving longer conversations again. Why clickbait feels exhausting. Why bodies are speaking louder than headlines. Why there's a hunger for frameworks that don't just explain the world, but help us to understand ourselves inside of it. Astrology, when practiced as storytelling technology for consciousness, well, that isn't about prediction. It's about pattern recognition. It gives language to what you're already feeling, not to tell you who you are, but to reflect back to yourself with clarity. February isn't asking us to rush, it's asking us to notice. Notice what drains you. Notice what energizes you. Notice which stories you're ready to lie down. If the field feels electric, it's because it is. If the net feels visible, it's because you're seeing it. And if you feel the call to slow down, tell better stories, and move with more intention, well, that's not hesitation. That's wisdom choosing its moment. We're all walking this net together, whether we name it or not. And the ones who learn to move with awareness become the storytellers others recognize themselves in. We've got this, Soul Fam. So much love.